What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Where Did All My Friends Go? Podcasts about life in the music industry. I'm your host, Patrick Tarnowski. Matt Reed is again not with us today, but we got Mike with us. Mike,
Hey, you got Mike Ray. It's the same initials as Matt Reed, so it's
it's
kind of got the
it's true,
same guy,
but you're from the band Haunter, which is pretty darn cool.
like the Pokemon.
Yeah, is that where
Not
it came
really.
from?
No, actually, it wasn't intentional. It was it
Because
actually came from. I mean, Haunter's a pretty cool Pokemon, but
Haunter is a cool Pokemon.
the idea was actually Enoma, our guitarist, who started the group. Um, when he started the band, he was actually dealing with like some night terrors pretty bad, and was just
Okay.
going through some stuff, and that was sort of haunting him. And then
Oh,
we
sure.
started talking about some other stuff and realized that music, like good music, will haunt you, whether it's a song that's just stuck in your head and like won't
Mhm.
leave and that sort of stuff. And so just the idea of music as a thing that could haunt you was something that resonated with us, and that plus night terrors plus whatever, we settled on Haunter. And then we are like, oh, Pokemon. All right, good, great, just put a nice little bow on it. But
Yeah. I mean, if you named it after the Pokemon, that's okay too. I mean,
yeah, it just
you
no,
know,
it
you
was just
could,
easier to it's so much easier to explain it that way to people sometimes, like Haunter, like the Pokemon.
yeah, like the Pokemon. You could make like a new EP or an album and call it Ghastly or something like that, or
Mm.
you know.
Yeah, we got a bunch of like I my initials are MAR, and so like my old band used to call me Magmar all the time. So there's just deep
Just
random
deep
music
Pokemon lore.
Pokemon ties. Yeah, but
There's deep Pokemon lore in your past. So y'all just released your latest single, Untouchable. How's the response been for the single so far?
oh, it's been awesome. I cannot tell you how thankful we are that everyone is responding to it the way that we hoped they would.
Mhm.
Untouchable is one of those songs that um my gosh, it was one of the first. Not like we usually go. So the way our band works is we go to LA once every year or so and do
Sure.
like 3 songs or 4 songs. It's just kind of when our producer has time to work us in. And it was the second batch of songs we ever did, so like we've had that song done for years. I mean, like probably 4 years.
Okay.
Because we also went out and recorded a bunch before we ever even launched the project, because we wanted to
Mhm.
have like so much in the chamber that just there's nothing worse than that band that like releases a song and people love it and they don't have
Got
anything else,
nothing.
So like we didn't want to run into that. So
Sure.
so yeah, we've been sitting on it for years and just were waiting for the right time and the right place, and finally got to a point where we felt like it would reach a wide enough audience, and get to, because we spent so much time and money on the video and everything else. And honestly, it's, I mean, not only is it one of all of our favorite songs we've ever done, but just the message is one that we really want to stand behind, of just like, don't let anybody tell you what you can't do, right? Like, just
Sure. Hmm.
if you put your mind to it, like, you can do anything, and like we'll get to the top of the world and like F everybody else. And so yeah, we just I like we're thrilled to finally have it out. Response has been overwhelmingly positive, which, I mean, generally you don't get a whole lot of negative responses unless it's trolls, but
Yeah.
we always appreciate. I mean, like, there's that's a thing in music that, like, I mean, it's not necessarily entirely helpful on a song that's already done and out and that sort of stuff, but like constructive feedback does matter, especially,
Yeah,
that's the thing,
absolutely.
especially when like you're sharing demos and stuff with people. I always try and tell people, like, what level of feedback do you want? Like, do you want me to tear this apart, like
Yeah,
in a,
like
in a in a friendly way, or do you want me to just like be like, yeah, it's cool, like
yeah, it's
it's
great.
a good song.
It's good. Never
So
listened to it again though, but it
yeah,
was good. Yeah.
well,
No.
because you can like things and still find ways that you think it
Oh
could be
yeah,
better. Like,
absolutely.
that's why I feel like it's always beneficial to have somebody outside the band produce the band stuff.
Hmm.
And if it's and if that's not the case, at least have somebody else like mix it, because like I feel like the more sets of ears wind up on something, the better the final product will always be,
Absolutely.
because you get you need that person to be like, yo, that idea sucks. Sorry,
Yeah.
but like it just
I
sucked.
mean, not, and the thing is just because you go in with a song and it could be completely written, that doesn't mean that's how it has to, that doesn't mean it has to be the final product of it. You
Well,
know,
and that's actually like we're the polar opposite of that as a band. Like so we're kind of unique in the sense that the first time we ever got together, like the four of us, well, so we went to the studio for the very first time. That was only the second time that the four of us in the band had been in the same room at the same time.
mhm.
Like we had all kind of known each other or had connections or whatever, but like didn't really, just we didn't write anything before we went. We had like Anoma and Lucy had done some demos when they were starting the project because it was Anoma
Yeah.
and Lucy, and then they brought on Mark, and then I got brought in like right at the tail end when we went to the studio. But we very quickly when we got to the studio realized that Tyler, our producer, was going to be more inspired and just work better if we just kind of wrote from scratch rather
Mhm.
than try and make something else work. And so we just scrapped threw everything aside and just started from scratch in the studio. And so literally every one of our songs was basically from conception to writing to recording to finished was 3 days a song, which
Wow.
is kind of nuts in
Yeah.
retrospect because that formula worked and we've just always stayed with it. And we do like way more pre-pro now and go in with way more ideas and inspiration and
Sure.
demos and that sort of stuff. But usually even then we pick the vibe of one that we really like and we scrap the actual demo itself and kind of rebuild that song. So
Mhm.
I don't know. It's we're a weird band in that regard, but I like it. It works
I
for us.
mean,
Makes us unique.
everybody's got their own writing processes, it's not everybody's the same. So do you have any more plans to any plans to release any more songs throughout the rest of the year?
Yeah, we should. Well, it's October, November, December. I don't know if there would be another one out before the end of the year. There'll be like generally our plan every year is to do like 3 or 4 new songs. So a new release every 4 weeks at the,
Okay.
at the most, or sorry, every 3 months at the most.
Sure.
But then we'll do a remix or something in between to keep it interesting. And um, I'm about to move and build a studio. And when we do that, I'm going to try and start doing like more like stripped down versions or alt versions or
Oh,
different
sure.
arrangements or that sort of stuff. Just because I don't know who that'll resonate with. I just, as a musician, that's one of the things I've always loved is hearing a band be able to like, oh yeah,
Reimagining.
you wrote a cool song, right? But like, can you deconstruct that song and does it still stand up? And like,
Hmm.
can it meet other, is it still good in various different arrangements and that sort of
Right.
stuff? And so just from a challenge standpoint of trying to create those, I think it should be fun. But yeah, we'll basically do at least probably 4 new songs a year.
Okay.
And then we'll just try and keep things interesting in between there with, remixes and fun stuff.
Hell yeah. So before starting Haunter, all of you were doing multiple different bands or genres. What do you find the most rewarding about creating pop music?
Oh man. It's just very freeing. There's not like I feel like there's less rules, um, in a way. And part of it too is like we as Haunter have intentionally tried not to like we don't want to just be a synth pop band or
Sure.
just be,
Hmm.
like so we try and create a little variety between releases. So we've got, like songs I feel like that sound like churches, but other songs that sound more like Paris and other songs like we've got songs, that'll be out next year that are in the vein of like Coldplay and Carly Rae Jepsen. And it's just like like it's all just kind of all over the place. And we've got
Yeah.
straight up like pop punk songs because we're all pop punk kids at heart that we'll have out probably next year too. So it's one of those things that I think is it's freeing because like pop is kind of like no real rules and you can get as weird as you want with it. And if
Hmm.
it works, it works. And like in rock and in other stuff, it's kind of harder to do, to get that creative freedom to just be like, we're gonna pull K-pop into this or we're gonna pull
Right.
whatever into this. And like I say that, but like Tyler Smith, our producer, also does like I Prevail and Falling in Reverse and like a bunch of
Right.
heavy bands. And there's stuff on on the E44 records that's straight hip hop and straight
Sure.
like there's K-pop influences. I mean, if you know what like Tyler and know what he like, you can hear the things that he was able to like pull into those. And I'm just like, so again, maybe there's no rules in any genre if you do it right.
Yeah, I mean, if you do it right. I mean, I guess I feel like you're right with pop music. There's so many different variations of pop
Hmm.
music to where you can kind of float through all of them or incorporate just about anything into it to make it pop still.
Yeah, it's just like I said, it's just freeing, and that's the
Yeah.
thing too. It's like because I had been in like sort of a pop punk pop rock band, and I know I've been in like a sort of a heavier pop rock. I don't know, like Anberlin type band.
Hmm.
I never know what to call that genre. And
Yeah,
then
rock.
yeah, it's like rock,
Yeah.
but like kind of pop punky at times. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just a rock band. They're just good. They're just a good band.
Hmm.
Um, and Mark had done like the pop punk thing, and then Lucy's, the singer of a like a metal band. I mean, like
Right.
it's so far like a field of what we do. But and Tyler had always done heavier stuff, and it was really just kind of like we all liked pop music, and we're just like, yo, do you want to get in a room and write some pop songs and just see what happens? Because
Yeah.
there's no, like we don't have any there's no real expectations for anything. It's kind of it's very refreshing to go into a studio and be like, look, we're gonna make music that we want to make for us, and if it resonates with people, great, and if it doesn't, cool. Like it's just want to make music with friends,
Oh
and
yeah.
and wherever it goes from there is because we've all done this long enough that we've been through that thing where it's like you're holding a band together because you're trying to make it, or you're trying to force things, or you're trying to do stuff to get the big
Right.
break and everything else, and then everything falls apart because like it's the joy of the art leaves, because then
Yep.
it's a business and not a something fun. So our goal was always just to you know keep it as light and enjoyable as possible, and hopefully
Keep
people seem to be liking the songs, so that's all that really matters.
keep the fun in it because if it's not fun, it's not worth doing.
100%.
So Haunter also formed during like the pandemic. What challenges did you face while not only trying to start a band but
Oh
create
man.
music during that time?
Well, so we actually started a couple years before that.
Oh, okay.
Like I said, we went out to LA a couple times to record. We had like 6 songs done before
Sure.
we ever launched anything.
Okay.
So we had kind of been a band for like a year and a half, 2 years before we actually launched.
Okay.
Um, but yeah, our first single debut of the band, like big promo push, all that stuff was Valentine's Day 2020, and then the world shut down like
Yeah.
3 weeks later, and so we immediately had to shelve all plans from there and just kind of regroup and try and figure out what to do, in that scenario, and um, shot both videos during COVID just because that was well, I take that back. Love You Better that came out right before COVID. That one was shot in fall of 2019. I was I had a family emergency, wasn't able to be in the video, which I'm still sad about these days every time I see it because I just love that. That's like one of my favorite songs, and I
Yeah.
love that video. But we shot the Untouchable video during COVID, and so
Oh,
that
okay.
tells you how long like we've been sitting on that song.
Yeah.
Like it was a that was a COVID production. Um, but it was just one of those things that like the video got delayed and one of the actors got COVID.
Yeah.
Just things happen, right?
Hmm.
So yeah, it was tough, but it was not as tough, I don't think, for us as it would have been maybe for bands that work in a more traditional sense, where everyone needs to be in the same room and writing together and doing what it was just because we were still actually we were able to go to LA during COVID, um, and record once things settled down enough and
Sure.
travel and that sort of stuff was safe. We went in the fall. And it was the least fun LA trip ever because we just went from the Airbnb to the studio to the Airbnb to the
Yeah.
studio and didn't
Not a
get
whole
to
lot to do.
do any,
Yeah.
yeah, and didn't get to go out and do anything fun but again, like we're there for a primary reason to record, and everything else is just sort of fun. But the COVID trip was the least fun by far. But also we just because of that, we just wound up hanging out at our producer's house with like Tyler and his wife Kim, and like they're the nicest people ever, and so unbelievably hospitable. So it was cool to just, connect in that regard.
Hell yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah, there was, I mean, no one was doing a whole lot at that point in time. So like that'd be, I mean, it's weird to think about for anyone outside of like LA or California, but to go to LA and then like not do anything. You're
Anything.
like,
Yeah.
man, that's a bummer.
Yeah, it was not the most fun trip. I mean, it was a great trip because we
I
got a
mean,
lot done. But
you're able to like focus more on
yeah,
music and that
exactly.
sort of
That
stuff.
was that was the probably the most focused we've ever been, because it was just like we don't have anything else to do. Just go home, think
That's
about the
all you
song
can
we
do.
wrote that
Yeah,
day, and then figure out a way to make it better. So
absolutely.
we
When it
learned things.
when it comes to like promoting your own music, what social media do you feel creates the biggest impact for you?
Man, probably a question Noma can answer better than any of us, because he's the guy that like he's the social,
The
not
social
really
media
like,
guru?
yeah, and also just the one that's patient enough to deal with the chaos of the socials, because it is a crazy world out there, and I don't know how he is able to just constantly, be on there and pushing stuff and doing that sort of stuff. But like,
It's a
we
tough
would we
gig.
would be nowhere without him. I mean, like, he's the amount of work that he does for this band is insane. But honestly, like TikTok probably has been the thing that's led to the most, like, upticks and followers and that sort of stuff, has usually been when something like, caught a bit on TikTok. And I say caught a bit, like,
Yeah,
we're not getting millions of views, but compared to relative things.
sure.
Um, but it's always a little bit of everything. I mean, I spend almost all my time on Twitter just because I've been on it since like 2008, and it's like
That's
I'm
your social
I'm
media.
I'm clinging to that dying platform every day and
To
hating it
cling
more and
into
more. But
X.
like, yeah,
Ugh.
I refuse to call it X. I will
No
never.
one
It's just
calls it
not a thing.
X. It'll never
No,
stick.
no. So like I'm on that all the time, and probably Instagram. But like, it's really, I don't know. So it's we find positives, it there's like pockets of fans that interact with us on each one, which is nice,
Yeah.
and so we know where we can go, and there's a place for, a good place for each, where like Twitter is just kind of an unhinged stream of madness
Yeah.
mostly. It's just
Twitter's where
random.
you do your shit posting and stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Say your weird thoughts.
Less serious. Yeah, just hey, it's the middle of the night and I'm drinking, and this is what I'm talking about, because
Right.
that's the platform we have.
Like every social media has its place, like they're
For
all
sure.
for different things. You can post different things on every
Well,
single
and
one and get different
that's
responses.
what I hated, when they all tried to start being the same thing.
Yeah.
Like when Instagram started adding video and everything else, it was like it just, there was like Twitter was a thing, and like Snapchat was a thing, and like it was all like, they're all, everything had its own little place, and then like they were all just like, oh, let's do more of that. And so now it's like,
Yeah, that's
I mean,
successful. Let's
Facebook and
do that
Instagram are
too.
kind of the same thing. Yeah, it's like, but then, like Vine was cool, and then suddenly, like, but the novelty of Vine was that they were what, like 12 seconds, right? Or whatever the limit was, and
Yeah.
that was it. And the same way that like TikTok was really cool at the beginning, because it was like short. You didn't have a
Yeah.
lot of time, and then they're just like,
And
no,
now
you can,
you can
now
have
it's
like
now it's long form video. And I'm like, this is an Instagram reel where everything, it's the same.
it's all the
It's all
same. Yeah.
just the same stuff in the end, which is fine. I mean, like, it, yeah, I understand why different platforms are trying to cling on to whatever is, the popular thing at the time, but it also just makes all of them matter less, It's
Yeah.
just like they all
It's
kind of become the same thing. It's just kind of a bummer. So
I agree because eventually everyone's just posting the exact same thing on everything and just hoping
even
to hit
even
different
even
people.
Twitter had what, fleets for a while, the little video, they had
Oh
the
yeah.
like stories, the video stories and stuff. I was like, no, we don't need this. Like, that's not what Twitter is.
Yeah.
It's not a
I
thing.
did like that uh Instagram has like brought back like the MySpace like away messages type
Oh
thing.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I remember that. The I forget what it was that I don't know. I posted some Fall Out Boy lyric or something the first day, and it's like,
Yeah,
yeah, okay,
it's
that's done
yeah,
that.
yeah. I mean, I don't know a lot of people that actually use it, but it's like it's kind of fun. It's nostalgic. It made me immediately think of MySpace.
Oh, 100%. It was cool that like I will say like the first there's
You got
one
cat?
of many cats behind me, so
Nice.
they'll be around. That's Napoleon.
Napoleon. I have an orange tabby cat as well. His name is Arthur Curry,
Nice.
the
We've
Aquaman.
got I've got a bunch of there's a bunch of cats in this house. We'll get to that if we need to. But they're all my girlfriend works at a or used to work at a cat hospital, and her mom
Okay.
still does. And so it's just one of those things that like they're all rescues, and they just came in, and everybody
Never
got
left.
along and didn't upset. Yeah, the thing was like if they came in and upset the balance, we'd find a home for them, and they didn't, so they stayed. So there's currently nine in this
Oh
house.
wow.
Seven, well, five that have been around for a long time, two that were pretty recent, like young kitten finds, and then two that are some geriatric rescues whose owner
Sure.
passed away.
Yeah.
Again, just because it's hard to find homes for old cats.
Yeah. Absolutely. That's awesome.
But yeah, they tend to make cameos on every podcast and Zoom call I ever make. It's
That's
impossible to.
that's what my cats love to
That's
do
what cats
too.
are for, right?
Yeah. My cat, his favorite thing to do is like, well, first off, he just
Right.
needs to snuggle and be touching people at all points of time. Like he does it his yeah. And
He's in
it's
my
the
lap, taking both hands.
it's the orange tabby. It's what
Yeah,
they do. They're weird
he
cats.
requires human contact at all
Yeah.
times.
If I'm working on my laptop and stuff, he's constantly trying to sit on top of the keyboard, and I'm like, you got to get off,
Yeah, he's like,
man.
I just want to be where your hands are. Like your hands are not on me, and that is not acceptable.
That's the only place your hands should ever be is on me. That
And I'll
cat,
even, like I'll pet him with one hand and try and type with the other hand, and it's not
yeah,
enough. It's never enough.
he is a weird cat. Does your cat also like to sleep under the blankets?
He's a little. I mean, he's just generally kind of crazy. He's very aggressively shaking the computer right now.
I love it.
But yeah, I don't know. He's the biggest. I mean, he's a large cat. He's not like fat by any means, but he's like 20 pounds of just big.
He's a thick boy.
Yeah, he's just a big. I mean, like his frame is just enormous too. I mean,
Yeah.
it's like a almost like a Maine Coon crossed with I don't know. Anyway, but yeah, he just demands attention 24/7. So
That's my cat too. Just loves it. Just talks and yells and screams if you're not touching him. And, all the fun stuff.
yeah,
But we got
but
one more
we
question
love
before
them.
before we go to a quick break. If you could give our listeners a piece of advice that you know now that you wish you knew when you were first starting out in your journey, what would it be?
In music,
Yeah.
especially,
Yeah.
um, stick to your gut and don't let somebody else tell you what you can and can't do. It kind of ties in with the message of untouchable in a sense, but
Yeah.
like it's something that especially in like my old band, and I know plenty of people that have dealt with the same thing. It's like we got really far and like really close to like showcase for a major label and did like got like to the cusp of doing some stuff right, but
Yeah.
we had an album done and it was ready to go and it was like mixed and mastered. We were gonna put it out ourselves and we signed with new management and they're like, no, like we'll find somebody to and then the second we started letting other people make plans for us and tell us what to do and tell us
Yeah.
what we should do and how we should whatever, everything just dragged and dragged and dragged and fell apart. And then we started resenting it. And then it was 2 years later and the album wasn't out. And we were just like trying to hold the band together because we were in debt. And it was just like, it's like, so it's fine. Like it is very wise always to get outside opinions. And yes, listen to people that know more than you and take their advice.
Mm-hmm.
But if you feel like something is the right decision for you and somebody else keeps telling you it's not, and you still feel like it's the right thing for you, do it. Like just because you don't want to regret later not having
Right.
taken that,
Right.
taken that
And
chance because
there's not one path.
No, there's no, I mean, it's like the industry's 90% luck or more anyway,
Yeah,
like the other 10%, like there's like talent matters. Yeah. It's like 90% luck, 9% talent, and 1%, I don't know, just whatever, there's definitely some people that don't have talent that just got luck,
it's
but
true. Very
that's
true.
something we also like, we talk about a lot is so many people look at like a band that like blows up on, gets popular on TikTok or something, and something goes crazy and they're like, oh man, they got so lucky. And it's like, I mean, yeah, there's luck involved in it, but you don't understand the like tens of thousands of hours that went into that luck.
Right.
Like there's like our friends Loveless, like love those dudes. They're crushing it right now. And like, yeah, they blew up on like, TikTok and stuff. But it's like Julian was all over that for so long and
Yeah.
worked his ass off. And then when the opportunity came, they were ready. Like they were locked in and ready to go. And like, because again, it's like kind of what we talked about before, where it's like you don't. There's always those bands that have one song and it
Mhm.
catches, and like, okay, cool, what else you got? And we're like, oh,
Yeah.
we'll get back to you. Like do your prep work. And so yeah,
We're
there's always luck, but just take the chance, because if you
we're
don't, you'll regret it.
we're not in the age of being able to get back to you later anymore. People need it now, now,
No.
now.
Yep. Yep.
Cool.
We got
That's
5 minutes.
yeah, pretty much 5 Second Tom or whatever. Isn't that from some movie? It's like I don't remember.
Neither do I.
I think it's from like an Adam Sandler movie. I think that's what it is. But on that, it's not important. On that, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back with our next segment. What's up, friends? We're super stoked to tell you that we just partnered with G Fuel. And let me tell you, there is no more pop punk beverage on the market right now than G Fuel. G Fuel keeps you energized, focused, and hydrated. If you go to gfuel.com right now and use code Unsigned Pop Punk, you're gonna save 20% off your entire order. You can get it in the tub form and have 40 freaking servings of flavors like Rick and Morty's Unstable Portal Fluid, which is a delicious strawberry limeade, or get something in the can form like Sonic's Peach Rings or Crash Bandicoot's Wumpa Fruit. Go to gfuel.com and check it out for yourself. Let us know what your favorite flavor is. And once again, don't forget to use our code Unsigned Pop Punk to save 20%. It's a heck of a deal, man. And we're back. Thanks so much for sticking around. Now it's time to hop into everyone's favorite segment, the food for thought segment, where we just talk about the get into the nitty gritty, like the food. We're gonna get this is journalism at its best here.
Hey, I mean, there are no rules. No rules. I was a journalism major. There's no rules.
I am not a journalism major, and I
I
would
was I was a
claim to
sports
be a
media major,
professional.
so it's like, you know,
That's way
it's
cooler.
very like, it was cool. I enjoyed it. It was I was really good at it, and I really really enjoyed doing it. But I realized very quickly that it was going to be one of those things that was going to be something that would require me to move every year, to go
Yeah,
from like slightly better job to slightly better job to slightly better job to like,
sure.
maybe if I'm lucky, eventually get back to Texas. And I was just like, I don't. That's not a way to try and start family, or it just didn't seem. I didn't really have that grind, I guess,
Sure.
anymore. I think part of it too is I had already, like, I had already toured for, like 7 years in bands and stuff, and went back and finished school. And it's like, yo, I've slept on couches and floors and
I've done all that
traveled
shit.
the world for no I've traveled the world for no money before. I don't really want to do that anymore. If I was 22 and I graduated, it may have been different, but I was not. So but yeah, it's fun. It was really cool. I really enjoyed it. It's something I still want to try and get back into, like, even if it's just working for like a, I don't know, like a blog or something here and there, just to spend most of my time on sports message boards, writing very well informed, well cited blog posts, or like message board posts that no one cares about, because that's, the outlet. I gotta use
There you go.
gotta use that brain somewhere.
Hell yeah. So we all know that Texas is known for its barbecue, but what would you say is the second most dominant food option in Texas?
Man, My guess would probably be Mexican food.
Yeah.
But it really then it's Tex-Mex, you know? So it's like, is it really, it's not, you know, we're not known for our traditional Mexican food as much as we are obviously for Tex-Mex. But I would say, yeah, if it's just in terms of the things you see most around it, yeah. I mean, Tex-Mex, barbecue, lots of steakhouses everywhere too.
Yeah.
But that's
Oh
a
yeah.
nice thing. Houston is such a like we're from Houston. It's such a
Hmm.
like a sort of cultural blending pot that's like we've got like phenomenal Indian food and Mediterranean food, and like there's just anything you want to find in this city food wise you can find if you know where to go. And that's like the I don't know. I just think it's cool. It's not like
Yeah.
I don't feel like every big city has quite the same. I mean, obviously New York does, but like there's so many freaking people
Just a
there that
melting
you
pot
gotta
of
have a bit of
food.
everything. But but yeah, I mean, there's just so yeah, Mexican food probably be second biggest.
That
But
makes sense. Yeah. What's your go-to Tex-Mex dish?
man, so it's interesting you say that. So like I've been vegan for
Oh.
almost 6 years now.
Oh.
But still am a like I it's very rare to find, and the places that have had it like haven't kept it very long. But like if I could find somewhere with like a good vegan cheese enchilada with like the chili sauce, like that is was always like you know, like just growing up, that was the be all end all of my life were cheese enchiladas. And then it's just so like I think it's mostly because it's the to make the vegan ones, it's just so expensive that
Sure.
you got to charge like 20 something bucks for an enchilada platter, and then no one's buying it. I'm just like, but there've been a couple places that dropped. So if I can ever find like good cheese enchilada with the chili sauce, like be, you know, everything.
That's
But
it.
also queso. I mean, like
Yeah,
queso makes everything better.
it's true. That so this I mean, I think this would be interesting. Just since you are vegan, this question may be a little different then. What is one food that you could eat every
Fine.
day and not get sick of?
Oh man. If it's like a type of food like pizza or something would be like it's pretty impossible to get sick of pizza.
I
Um,
agree.
I worked at Italian food. I worked at Italian food places and pizza places for a long time when I was in the service industry, and ate pizza every day and never once got sick of it. So that's probably the easiest answer.
It's
But
accurate.
I don't like, thankfully, I don't get sick of foods. That's the nice thing. Like if I really like something, I could eat it every day and it doesn't matter what it is. And I just like, I've never once gotten tired of something I liked. So thankfully my brain is wired that way where I don't suddenly hate something that I've loved because I just, you know, got burnt out on it.
My
But yeah,
children
pizza. I mean, I
my children will get just say that, out of the blue, I don't like bananas anymore. Since when? Like
that happened to me as like a kid. I think I had like, I think it was like cantaloupe or something. I don't really
sure.
remember what it was. It was something that it was a melon of some sort that I had eaten before and was totally fine. And then like ate it one day and like gagged or something. And then it was just like I refused for the rest of my life. Like I still don't like cantaloupe. I don't know. It's like, and my mom was just like, what happened? And I was like, I hate that thing.
Yeah.
The worst. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Just it's weird. It's weird how that happens. Kids though, especially, you know, just
Yeah. My daughter, for no good reason, just decides she doesn't like stuff from day to day. So she's just awesome that
oh
way.
sure, yeah, of course. How could yeah, I mean why make it easy on you
Yeah.
that you could prep something that you know was good that she likes and then
I think the one thing I would gave her shit about, I still always give her shit about, is she'll say that she doesn't like ground beef, but she loves hamburgers, but she doesn't like ground beef. And I said, well, that doesn't make sense, sweetheart, because that is ground beef. And she's like, no, like but like it's just a
She
bit.
doesn't like it when it's in small pieces,
Yeah, and that's not even the
I
case.
guess.
Actually, she just doesn't like taco seasoning. That's basically, like, I figured it out because she'll eat
Oh,
ground beef and
fair.
basically everything except when it comes to like tacos, or she doesn't like
Tacos.
that,
Got
and
it.
she's
Okay.
sick of it. So it's not that she doesn't like ground beef. She
Meanwhile,
doesn't
I'm like,
like it.
I'll put taco seasoning on anything because
Oh
like
yeah,
taco
put that on
seasoning
my
makes
eggs.
life
Let's
better.
go.
Yeah, throw it in my soups, throw it in everything. Like
Yeah, it's delicious. But that's what it is.
she
Um,
doesn't know.
she, she's a kid. Kids are stupid. What's that from? That's another movie. That's Home Alone. It's like kids are stupid.
Mm.
uh, can you tell me why Texans love the grocery store HEB so much? Is it not
Oh
just a
man.
normal grocery store?
I guess it is. They're all quite large, which is nice. But I mean, I personally love it because they've got a ton of good vegan stuff.
Okay,
It's like I, especially like as a vegan, like when you're eating, and I most of this stuff I eat is frozen, right? I'm not cooking from scratch most days because I just don't have that energy.
sure.
Um, and a lot of the stuff that I love, like there's no one store that carries all of the products that I love. Like I've got to go all over the place to get all the things because like, the selection's not, there's no fully vegan stores that whatever.
Sure.
HEB always has the most. So if I got to go to one, go to HEB in a heartbeat. Um, I don't know. It's just very like maybe it's just local pride, But like there's also I don't know. I feel like that's not the only like local, store, but I mean we also love ourselves at Bucky's, so that's, it's gotta
Bucky's,
mean
man. The place
life changing. Life changing.
that's a life-changing like gas station.
I will go I will go like fairly significantly out of my way to go to a Bucky's. Like it's
That's
worth
fair.
the trip, which
We
is
don't have anything special like that in Minnesota. We have like quick trips, but not QT quick trips. We have, you know,
oh with the KW. The KW
KW.
quick
Yeah.
trip.
You can see QT.
Yeah.
That's different. That's a whole different
Yeah.
ball game. That's a good one.
Yeah, no, QT is great. I was gonna say QT is probably my favorite gas station before Bucky's because that was
Yeah.
just like I lived for the sweet tea and when I could eat the more of the stuff they had there, like all the rollers and grillers and stuff, or
Yeah.
just
QT. It's a
quick trip.
great.
Quick trip is clutch on tour, and it was like nicer than like Loves or like Pilot or whatever that are like predominantly like truck stop type
Yeah.
places. It's like they had good selection of stuff, but like because there's so many of them, they vary greatly in terms of how clean they are. And like some might be
Mhm.
super nice and some might be the dirtiest place you've ever been in your life. And that's what Bucky's banked their whole thing on. They're just like, yeah, we have clean bathrooms. Bathrooms are always clean.
Always clean.
They're private and they're clean. Like it's just like, okay, stay left. Stay left.
Yeah.
I'm on the way already.
Yeah. There is not a Bucky's anywhere near us.
Well, we'll get there. I think they've gotten to like Tennessee now. I mean, I don't know, they're getting out there. So
I know. I think that,
it's
yeah, that's
only a matter of time.
the closest like QT, I think, is in Kansas City. No, wait. There's a random one in Des Moines, Iowa. I remember that. I always remember driving through it.
Interesting.
It's off of 35.
Okay.
There's just
How far is Des Moines from where you are?
five or 5 or 6 hours.
Okay. I just I mean, been there on tour and
Yeah.
stuff, and obviously been in Minnesota, but I just very rarely was the Minnesota to Des Moines the routing. It was
Yeah. I mean,
passing
I,
through
I
different,
just, I
both of
just
them.
like, I think either you or I'm cutting out. My network has been not fantastic today. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm seeing. I mean, I haven't lost. Yeah, I got you.
Okay.
Are you good?
I think I'm good. Are you good?
It said I mean, I got a thing that says like, yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, like you'll get like caught up at times, but all the words I feel like get there eventually. They like speed up and catch up. You know how the internet does that?
Yeah.
It's like, oh, he froze. Oh wait, there's all the words at once. Got it. Okay.
Oh, nice. That's good.
But yeah, I think, I mean, I everything seems okay-ish on my end. But if we need to like
No,
restart the session or something, I'm
I
happy to
think
do whatever.
I think it's
Cool.
on my end. So, but because I was having a little bit of issue throughout the
Gotcha.
day, but we're almost done. So
Yeah, I went fully streaming some years back to where I just like I've got like gigabit plus on everything and just Wi-Fi only, you know. Well, not Wi-Fi only. I hardwire everything I possibly can, but streaming only, like no cable, no whatever. And so thankfully the Wi-Fi doesn't cut out too much.
That's awesome. Yeah. When my kids are home, my Wi-Fi is just at its peak being used. So
Yeah. So I always tell people, I was like, yeah, it's just tell my dad and everything else. Like, get more than you need.
yeah,
Always more than you need. But
absolutely.
never underestimate the amount of Wi-Fi that a child can devour on multiple screens at once.
Absolutely. Yeah. Which
It's
is
like, why is
accurate.
everything dragging? It's like, oh, I'm just downloading like 4 seasons of this show on BitTorrent. It's like it's only like 85 gigs. It's
On
fine, right? Like it's
Pirate Bay.
okay. Yeah, just hanging out on the Pirate Bay.
Yeah. Well, that's it for the food for thought segment. Now we're gonna finish off strong with our rapid fire question segment.
Friendships will be tested. Rapid fire questions.
You're just gonna speak from the
Sweet.
heart. You're gonna shoot from the hip. First thing that comes to your brain, go for it.
I usually either excel or suck terribly at these, and it depends on the day. So let's go. I'm in.
I think you got this. It's pretty easy. Mountain Dew,
Okay, never know.
or Mellow Yellow?
Ooh, man, Mellow Yellow, but there's a caveat,
Okay.
and that caveat is that Days of Thunder is one of my favorite movies of all time. And
Yes.
Rowdy Burns was driving the Mellow Yellow car, and then Cole Trickle wound up driving it after Rowdy got hurt.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, as a kid, I was like, Mellow Yellow, let's go. I can't go to City Chevrolet. I can't buy Superflow. I can buy Mellow Yellow. Like,
Mm-hmm.
that's
Damn
so
right.
Yeah, you can. It's just a nerd that loves a NASCAR movie, but
That's a great movie, though. Like,
it is. And it, like, the thing that's hilarious about it is it's literally Talladega Nights, just not funny. Like, the plots are basically the same. There's a big crash. Both guys get hurt. There's like one of them doesn't really get right, and John C. Riley's in both of them just because, of course, he is.
Oh yeah.
He's Buddy Brotherton.
Yeah.
And he's like one of the guys in the pit crew or whatever for Culture. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't need to go down that tangent. This is supposed to be rapid fire, not Mike talks about Days of Thunder.
It usually doesn't go super rapid, but
You're fine. That's like one of those movies I rarely get to just bring up, and that triggered me.
So good though. It's a great.
It's a good film. It's a great movie. It's a great movie. It's where Tom Cruise and Nicole Kidman met. Like it's did important things.
Absolutely. All right. Horror or comedy movies?
Ooh, horror.
All right.
Both are great. Obviously, there's like, though the horror comedy often is not great. The good ones are very good. But for a while there, when there was a new like scary movie spinoff or whatever, or wannabe scary movies,
those
for
were
a while
rough.
it just got bad. Yeah, horror, always horror.
A good horror like Evil Dead 2.
When it's done well, like, I mean, horror as a whole is good, and when like horror and comedy can intertwine in a good way, it's perfect.
Absolutely.
But like, they try too hard so many times.
Yeah,
just like, okay, this was either really funny on set, and y'all thought it would translate, and maybe it didn't. Like, this is an inside joke. I don't know. But like some of the best horror comedy movies really aren't I don't think we're intended to be comedies. They just were very campy, and then it just became funny, which is
That's
also
fair.
fine.
That's
So,
fair.
but yeah,
Cartoon
that's
Net.
what I mean. Like I've got Shutter. I've got Shutter on my TV because like that's one of the apps. Just nothing
I
better to do.
I
Find a horror
used to
movie. Let's
have
go.
Shutter. I used to have Shutter, and then I stopped paying for it, and then I
It's the worst.
forgot.
Like it is the worst actual app ever. Like the user experience of the app sucks. It crashes all the time. It's hard to navigate. Nothing. It's the like every button that does a thing on an Apple TV does the opposite thing on that. It's just like who designed like. But I still have it because like, give me the horror. It's worth it. It's worth the unpleasant truth.
That's fair. Cartoon Network or Nickelodeon?
Oh, Nickelodeon. I think that's probably just an age related thing. Like growing up, like I was still like Nickelodeon to me though is a lot of not cartoon shows. I mean, there's a lot of cartoon shows on it, but like I grew up on The Adventures of Pete and Pete and Salute Your Shorts and like those, all that and
Hey Dude.
Keenan and Kel and like Hey Dude, exactly. Like those, I wasn't. There was still like Rocko's Modern Life and Ren and Stimpy. I mean, there were lots of shows, animated shows at the time, but was always drawn more toward the Nickelodeon stuff, probably just because the live action stuff.
I mean, they're both great. Once again, well, all of the
they are
options
absolutely
great. Like all
Yeah,
of the options in all these questions, either one is good. They're good choices. Let's see. Thin crust or regular crust pizza?
Ooh, regular. I do appreciate a thin crust. When it's done really well, it's nice, like to have that crisp. But I don't know. I feel a little underwhelmed with the thin crust pizza. It's
Sure.
like this is good. I just wish there was more of it.
Yeah.
Like give me a little more substance.
Yeah, I feel like
You
it
can get
never
like
makes
kind
me
of an
full.
in between where you still got like if you can get like a really crispy normal crust when that's done well, it's very good. But that's but yeah, standard over deep dish too. That wasn't part of the question, but just deep dish is just weird.
I agree.
Well, I love you, Chicago, and I will always eat a deep dish pizza when I'm in your city, and it's just more of a pie. That's like taking the pizza pie and focusing more on the pie than the pizza, like which is fine. I mean, it's great, like in moderation. I just don't think I could eat it. Like thin crust, there's not enough. Deep dish, too much happening. Like
That's fair. That's fair.
You need the happy medium.
I agree. Meat in the middle, regular crust.
Yeah.
Lindsay Lohan or Tara Reid?
Oh man, Tara Reid because American Pie.
Yeah. Josie and the Pussycats.
Just was. Yeah. Oh shit. Also, man.
Sharknado.
Okay. I mean, like that's a hard. Yeah, it's a hard. I mean, like because there's a lot of like, especially my generation, like grew up on like Parent Trap and stuff. There's like lots of Lindsay Lohan stuff too, but like. But yeah, American Pie was like one of the that at least the first few of those were solid back in the day.
I think all of like the main cast ones are actually all very good. They're definitely like
when they started spinning off, it got weird.
Yeah, it's got to have the actual original cast for it to be good.
It's cat cameo number 2. He's just slinking on by.
Who's this one?
That's Leith. It means gray in Irish or Welsh. Irish. Nice. I think it's Irish. He's gray tabby. I don't know. Just fit. He's a shoulder cat. He'll like ride around on my shoulder all day. He's a weirdo. He'll just stand at my feet and meow until I pick him up, and he just sits on my shoulder.
I like it.
Yeah, he's a cool little dude. Weird little guy, but
hell yeah. So we got one more question for up rapid fire, and that's Newfound Glory or MXPX.
Oh, man. MXPX is my heart's answer, but I'm going to see Newfound Glory tomorrow.
That's awesome.
So my brain is very Newfound Glory is very front of mind. That All American Rejects, Newfound
Yep.
Glory,
I just saw that.
Motion City, and the Get Up Kids, I think, is the lineup here, which I'm stoked on. I'm thrilled for that.
Yeah, I got this. I got this Get Up Kids sweatshirt at the
Heck
show.
yeah. That's I will be. I'm getting there first, like, because they're opening, and like that's. I mean, honestly, the Get Up Kids are probably
legends.
Like they're one of my favorite bands of all time. But I'm also from Oklahoma originally, so like All American Rejects have a spot in my heart because like, we don't have a lot of bands from Oklahoma.
They were great.
They've been like, for a long time they were like a discography band for me. Like just every song on every record, no skips, like burn through, just whatever. Haven't listened to the new stuff as much since they got back together after they broke up. But even like Kids in the Street, their last record they put out in like 2012, that like I don't think a lot of people listen to because I don't know, the scene was kind of dying at that time. It's one of my favorite albums to this day. Like just love that album, love that band.
I just never saw them live until I just saw them like.
Oh, they kill it.
They've always killed it. They were incredible.
They've always killed it. Do they? I guess I'll find out tomorrow. I was wondering if they still have a touring bassist that plays sometimes when Tyson just wants to sing, and then sometimes Tyson plays bass.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that was there was when that Kids in the Street record came out, that the bass player touring with him at the time was Matt Rubano from Taking Back Sunday and a million other great things. I mean, shit, he's on like a Lauryn Hill record. I mean, like, just a phenomenal, like, just phenomenally talented guy. But there's a song on that record that has like a double bass intro, like two bass parts together, and it's like that's not a thing you get very often. And I was just stoked that existed, and then B, live it was like Tyson and Matt doing like a dueling bass solo.
Nice.
Like that led into that song, and I was just like, this is the coolest thing I've ever seen, because I was a bass player at the time, been a bass player in a lot of my bands, so we'll always lean that way. But yeah, MXPX I think has got to be the heart answer. Just,
and their new album is great.
Something about Mike Herrera's voice just hits me in all the right ways. Even though somebody said to me like, Mike Herrera, my first, like, the immediate thing that pops into my mind is his guest vocal on Radio Number 2, the Ataris song from So Long Astoria. Just because I don't know, at the time when I heard that, I was like, hey, that's Mike from MXPX. And like now my brain just, when I think Mike from MXPX, I think of that song,
they
which isn't even one of their songs. But
those two bands also just announced today that they're going on a short little stint together.
Wait, the Ataris?
Yeah.
MXPX?
Yeah.
Oh, damn. Okay. I'm sure it's not coming to Texas because not coming to Houston because so many tourists don't.
Yeah, it doesn't
Especially
look
the short
like
runs.
It's going very far. It's like 4 or 5 shows, I think.
I'll find out if I can make it.
Yeah.
Sometimes you gotta make it work.
Just go for it. Just fly, drive, go get surfed.
Yeah, that's like, speaking of album, that like So Long Astoria is probably, it's got to be on the short list of just like perfect pop punk records.
Yeah, it's a great album.
Like just opening note to final note, nope, like there's just nothing bad about it.
And I've always been a big Ataris fan, though. I think like all of their stuff is good. I've always loved it.
Yeah, they're still great live. I mean, even if it's just, I don't know the lineup they're currently touring with. Lately, it's just been Chris and some guys.
I think this lineup is the So Long Astoria lineup.
Okay, yeah, I saw them on that anniversary tour, and they did that, and it was awesome. And it's been, I don't know, a while now. But like that was, and they played like a 200 cap room, and it was just like, yes, like take me back, like let's go. Like we were like sandwiched in here like sardines. I can't move, I'm sweating, and I'm standing still. Like, but I miss those days.
Yeah,
good days.
It's always a good time going to a club show.
Oh, it's amazing. And especially when older bands or bigger bands still play club shows, like if that's a thing that happened. Like I went to Foo Fighters last night, and they played at 713 Music Hall, which is like a new venue down here. And it holds, a few thousand people. But like for the Foo Fighters, you'd expect to see them at like, if not a stadium, at least an arena. Right. Not like just a standard, so that was I don't know, it was a freaking cool show. They're a bucket list band of mine that I finally got to cross off. So
That's awesome. I'm hoping to get to see them sometime because I know that they're going back out on tour. So
yeah, that was like they had a like I tried to see them forever and ever, and just I was on tour or like something didn't work out, and finally had tickets to see them like in LA, and then Taylor died and they canceled those shows, and I was like,
yeah, that
all
I
right.
had tickets for that
I had
tour too.
floor seats for the LA show, and
Yeah.
like for both shows, and I was like, I'm gonna fly out, it's gonna be great. And then so finally got to see them last night though, so
Awesome.
you know,
That's
off.
that's my wife's favorite band of all time. So I had bought her
They're
tickets for
they're
Christmas.
they're just so good.
Yeah, they're great.
Like they're I could make a very strong argument they're the last great American rock and roll band.
Yeah,
Like
it's a pretty easy like
who
argument.
else? Like yeah, there's different. I mean, if you want to go into like different genres, was like Pearl Jam, but they're not like straight rock and roll, And then there's like Metallica, but they're like they're heavy, It's like that's. But all three of those bands are still, still crushing it. But like that's there's, I don't know if there'll ever be another Foo Fighters. Just
I don't. We'll have to wait and find out, I guess. But
if there are, then that's a great thing. It's a great thing for the music because that's just.
But that's it. You did it. You finished the podcast. Now's your chance. Let everybody know what you got going on, where they can find you, and what's next.
Sure. So again, band is called Haunter. The single we just released is called Untouchable. It's one that is near and dear to our hearts. I hope everyone that hears this goes and checks it out. We are at Haunter Isn't Real on all socials. So TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, X, whatever the hell it's called. Just at Haunter Isn't Real. We are very much real, but that's what is real, So haunterisn'treal.com is the website as well. So you can always find us, worst case, haunterisn'treal.com, find everything else from there. But yeah, Untouchable. Go check it out.
Absolutely. Everybody, make sure you go follow them on social media. Check out Untouchable and check out every other song that they put out because they're all great. They're all good tracks. You're not going to be upset listening to the entire thing. So,
I mean, we try sometimes.
Every time. You don't try. You know what? You don't try. You just do.
We just do. Yeah.
You just do. You're great.
Do or do not.
There is no try. But Mike, thanks so much for hanging out with us today, or me today.
Pleasure.
Just me.
Yeah,
normally
absolute pleasure.
Us,
that's fine.
Yeah. But
come back for the us.
Yeah, come back for the us. And then the rest of y'all hang out with me. Don't go anywhere. I'm gonna hop up into the Unsigned Pop Punk news, and you'll hear that right after this jingle. What's up, my friends? We have come a long ways from that news song is so long. But yeah, we want to hear from you. Hit us up. Let us know what you think in the comments, wherever you're listening to this or watching this. Just hit us up. Let's chat. Let's be friends. It's a good time. We're nice, friendly people. So yeah, or join our Discord. And you can be friends with a whole bunch of different like-minded people. It's great. 15% of every purchase of our gender equality shirts are donated to the Trevor Project. And we have a whole bunch of new products in our gender equality drop. We've got like a sweatshirt, we got a coffee mug, we got crop tops, we got like 8 different color shirts. Let's go. I mean, it's pretty much in anything you want it to be on. And so the Trevor Project's mission is to end suicide among the LGBTQ youth. So help us in supporting this amazing cause and supporting saving young LGBTQ lives. We got our metal merch drop, and boy, it's freaking awesome. There's some cool stuff in there. So check that out. Go to unsignedpoppunk.com. Make sure you're checking it out. And that you can subscribe to all of our stuff under Unsigned Pop Punk. You can find different ways of checking out this podcast or any other shows we do, events that we're putting on or will be at. What else? We're doing lots of fun stuff. So yeah, just unsignedpoppunk.com will give you everything you need in your life. But that's the way the news goes. Thanks so much to Mike from Haunter for hanging out with me today. Thanks to Matt for always being my friend. Thanks to Super Gibby for always being my friend as well. Thanks to Lawrence Crow for all of his awesome design work that he always does and making all of the coolest freaking merch that we could ever feel we could have. Thanks so much to Ross. Dude, one of the things I just saw, this was so cool. Ross from Electric Kiwi. Man, he just did a website for Joey McIntyre from the freaking New Kids on the Block. That's so awesome. That's freaking so cool. So yeah, if you need an awesome website done at a great price and by someone you can obviously trust, because Joey McIntyre trusts him, hit up Ross at Electric Kiwi for your website needs. So heck yeah, that's the way the news goes. Again, thanks for hanging out, and I'll see you next Monday. Bye. Thank you so much for checking out the show. Please hit that like, subscribe, or follow button so you never miss an episode. And thank you so much to those of you who already are. Check us out on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, or anywhere else you stream your podcasts. If you're in the position to help us grow and like behind-the-scenes access and exclusive shows, head on over to our Patreon at www.patreon.com/unsignedpoppunk. Let us know in the comments who you'd like to see on the show and what other content you'd like to see. Thank you all so much.